Alright, what's going on guys, this is Lone Courier here, and I kind of felt like putting together a little Gears of War multiplayer tip video because, well, I'm not exactly going to lie, I'm not the best player ever, but I felt like putting together some kind of tips video because, well, Gears of War is a bit of a tough game, and I know there's a lot of new players coming into the game for Gears of War 4, and I kind of felt like putting a little guide video out for you guys that are new to the game. And first, right off the bat, I just want to say that I'm not exactly the best player ever. I do in fact know this, but I do have some valuable tips that probably will help you out a lot when you start playing this game. So the first thing I'm going to say right now, when it comes to learning tips and whatnot, is I'm probably going to guide you to a couple of different videos from outside sources in this video, you know, like another channel that probably has a video that might help you out. But if you want to go and check out that stuff, links will be in the description. So moving on, the first thing's got to be the movement. Now in Gears of War 4, the movement is a lot easier to comprehend than it was in the previous Gears of War games. Not saying that the previous Gears of War games were clunky, but this game definitely feels a lot more fast paced and fluid than the previous games did. You know, like mantling over cover is a lot smoother than it previously was. And generally the movement is a lot faster and just more smooth than it was in the previous games. So the first thing I definitely recommend when it comes to Gears of War is learning how to get around the map in the fastest way possible. And another thing as well is you want to learn what routes to take when you're playing a multiplayer match. You don't want to run into a group of 5 enemies. Trust me, that's a bad idea, and that's going to get you killed so many times. Now the best thing to do that is check your TACCOM before you go into a situation. Check to see if anybody's marked any enemies near a location, and just understand where enemies are coming from, especially if you're playing a mode like King of the Hill. When you're in a multiplayer match, if you're playing King of the Hill and you know where they're spawning, don't go in from their way. If you're a bit of a... I'm not going to say that if you're a great player, because, you know, you can hold your own at times, but generally I wouldn't go in through the flank. I wouldn't flank them if you're just starting off the game. When you feel a bit more comfortable and that you know that you can pull off quick kills and whatnot, then I definitely would recommend flanking enemies. But when you start playing the game, just try and take the path of least resistance, to say the least, because that definitely helps out a lot. And another thing as well is knowing where the power weapons spawn and finding the quickest, safest way to that power weapon, because you don't want to take the way where all the enemies are to the power weapon. If you can find an easy way to get in when nobody's going to see you and get that power weapon, and that's the best way to go about it, it will still inform the enemy team that you've picked up the power weapon, but if you get in and out really quickly, they won't be able to find you. Another thing as well when it comes to the movement of this game, one thing that is really helpful is probably wall bouncing. And that's more helpful for close range Gnasher fights than anything else, but wall bouncing definitely is one of the most important things in Gears of War multiplayer, and you'll see some top tier players doing it a lot. And trust me, it does help in close range Gnasher fights. Sometimes it doesn't exactly help out the most, but sometimes it really does. And so I will direct you to a couple of videos, more like from people from like Butter and whatnot, because those guys have made videos talking about the wall bouncing, and that stuff definitely does help. Another thing as well is when it comes to hipfire in this game, you really need to know about hipfire, because the way hipfire worked in Gears of War Ultimate Edition is it would come from the center of your screen. It didn't matter what direction your gun was facing, hipfire came from the center of your screen. Like if you were looking directly at an enemy, all your bullets would go straight to them. And in this game, I'm not exactly sure, I could be wrong here, but I think the hipfire actually comes from your gun this time, not from the center of the screen. So whatever you want to do, you want to have your gun aiming at them if you're trying to hipfire somebody, and that generally does help. But if you're not all that confident with hipfire, which I'm not going to blame you if you're not, one thing that really helps is sort of popping and shooting. And the way to do that is, people kind of call it a little bit of a quickscope. It's not like a, you know, like quickscope from Call of Duty, but basically what you do is you kind of aim down sight really quickly, and that will kind of put yourself on target with where the character's body is, and you want to try and aim at their body to be, you know, the most accurate. And if you do that quite quickly and then on ADS, then your character will be aiming towards their body. So generally that does help out a lot. Another thing as well that you need to learn when you start playing Gears of War 4 is what weapons are useful for what situations, because trust me, I see too many people trying to use the Lancer at all ranges, and I see too many people that think the Gnasher is the only gun in the game. So the first thing, the Lancer. Now the Lancer really is the most helpful weapon when it comes to medium range. Trust me, it can help you out at close range, but you're best not even trying until you're a little bit better, because even some of the best players can't kill somebody at close range with a Nashor, well, with a Lancer when the other enemy's got a Nashor. Because trust me, the Lancer isn't the best gun ever. It does do damage, but the best way to get the most damage out of it obviously is to have a perfect active reload pumped. But you can't really do that at all times, so if somebody's trying to close the gap on you and they're super close to you, you may as well just get out the shotgun, because the Lancer just isn't going to do it. I know the Lancer has the chainsaw on it, but the Lancer chainsaw won't help you at close range unless they don't know what they're doing, or unless they're stunned or staggered. That is the only time when the Lancer chainsaw is going to help you at close range. If you see someone moving towards you with the Nashor, don't try and rev up your chainsaw. That's not going to work, because you're just going to get bodied and you're going to be thinking to yourself, God damn it, how did I not kill him? So when it comes to close range, the Nashor definitely is the best weapon to be using, and that's when stuff like wall bouncing starts to become an important factor. But it's not the only factor. Another is also the perfect active reloads, which in this game you can actually just pump an active reload without having to waste any ammo, and that definitely is helpful. So if somebody closes the gap on you and you see them getting even closer to you, if you have an active spare, be sure to pump it, because it definitely will help you. And another thing as well when it comes to the active reloads is understanding the best time to pump your active, because sometimes you pump it and it turns out that you've just wasted it, and then the enemy closes the gap on you when your active's faded away, and then you don't get that damage buff, and usually you would have bodied them in one shot, but then you need 2 shots, and you know what it's like, it gets a little bit awkward at times. So that's definitely knowing what weapon to use in what situation. Another thing I do recommend knowing what to use is the power weapons, because trust me, people are better at specific power weapons than they are with others. I am way better with the torque bow and the drop shot than I am with the long shot, so in that situation I will leave the long shot for someone who's better with it, because the worst thing ever in Gears of War multiplayer is when some Bambi takes the long shot and they don't know how to use it. Now obviously you need to use it to get practice to get good with it, but, you know, if there's a good player that's going for the long shot, let them have it. Just let them have it. Don't try and contest it. Because, well, if it's somebody on your team, if you see an enemy player going for a power weapon that you're going for, you may as well try and take it. But if it's a friendly player who's going for the long shot, if he's good with it, let him have it. Because that will help the team out more than it will than 7 missed long shot, you know, shots. It definitely helps out knowing what power weapons you're good with. And the best way to get practice with them is easily playing the offline multiplayer modes. Just practice with them as much as you can, even if that means going into private matches and changing every weapon spawn to the long shot. That will help you out. Another weapon that's quite good is the M-bar. I'm quite good with the M-bar. I wouldn't say I'm amazing with it, but you know, I'm better with it than I am with the long shot, so you know, it just depends on what weapons you're good with. If you're good with the torque bow, be sure to use it. If you're good with the drop shot, use that. But if you're not good with a power weapon, leave it for your teammates. But if there's no teammates near you, say for example, if you're playing a map and your teammates have all gone down a separate route from you and you're on your own and you're next to a power weapon, if nobody's there except for maybe an enemy player, you may as well pick it up. Understand that, but you know, if your team are all running for the power weapon, let somebody better than you have it. It's just common courtesy, and it does get a little bit frustrating. Another thing that I need to say as well when it comes to Gears 4 multiplayer is definitely understanding that you're not going to be amazing right off the bat, because so many games right now you can just pick it up and be good at the game within 20 minutes of playing, but Gears of War is seriously a game that requires a lot of patience and skill, and it's definitely got a higher skill gap than most games out there these days, because Gears of War, it's got so many different things that you need to be good at in order to class yourself as a good player. Like seriously, I still wouldn't even class myself as an air quote good player. I'm just average, but there is definitely some things I'm better than others at, and there's some things that other people are better than me at. So you definitely need to work on the grind of this game to get good at it. And you can't take weeks off of this game at a time, you know, you need to be playing it every single day. Maybe not every single day, but you need to be playing it pretty actively to be good at it, you know, because if you take a week break off this game or a couple of weeks break off this game, you'll find you come back and you're rusty and everybody else has just gotten that much better than you. So one way to get good at this game is just keep playing it actively, and if you keep playing it actively, you'll notice that you get better and better over time, and that generally does help, man. So if you get shit on the first couple of games, don't be discouraged, because Gears of War is quite a hard game and you're not going to be amazing at it for the first time you play it. So, you know, just keep in mind the tips that I've said. There's a couple of other things that you need to learn as well, like wall bouncing, but you know, that's sort of more an intermediate kind of skill, and that takes skill to learn. So wall bouncing isn't the first thing you want to learn when you start playing Gears of War. Wall bouncing is something that will come later, and you should learn later, but stuff like knowing what weapon to use, that's definitely one of the most paramount things in Gears of War multiplayer, because I see too many people trying to use the wrong weapon for the long range, and well, for the wrong range, and that definitely is one of the worst things in Gears of War multiplayer. And another thing as well is don't rage quit this game, just don't, you know. I mean, there's not very many harsh penalties put in place as it is for Gears of War 4 multiplayer, and it gets so frustrating when you're in a lobby and everybody else on your team just backs out and you're left 1v1ing, well, you're left in a 1v5 team deathmatch game. That's frustrating as hell, and so I recommend don't rage quit, but because that just annoys everybody involved. And another thing as well is you probably want to learn the layout of the maps. Some maps are easy to learn than others, and some people are better at other maps than they are on, you know, certain maps, because I'd say easily I'm probably a lot better on like Dam than I am on Foundation. You know, like that, you know, you may be better on one map than you are on another, and recognise what game modes that you're good at. Another tip I do recommend is playing in the social playlist rather than the ranked for your first couple of games, because in the ranked playlist it tends to be people that want to get like Onyx rank, and it tends to be full of people that play the game quite a lot. And social playlist, you can run into more partied up players, but social playlist tends to be full of a lot more newer players. I'm not trying to discourage anybody or call anybody bad here, but social playlist is more for casual players, and then the ranked playlists are a bit more for, you know, the serious players. So just try it social at first. It definitely helps out a lot more playing that playlist, and you run into less tryhards, so that's definitely something to keep in mind right there. Another thing as well that I want to give, just as a rule of thumb, is don't steal people's kills. If you're playing TDM, right, and if an enemy manages to kill your teammate, well, say for example, if your teammate is down and the enemy's down as well, you know, like he killed it, well, he downed the enemy and the enemy downed him, be sure to run in and kill that enemy before you revive your teammate. But if you see your teammate down somebody, don't steal that kill. Just don't steal kills. It's frustrating as hell, and nobody likes it. Say for example, if you're playing TDM, you're on the last kill, you've just downed the last guy, and your teammate downed him, and you think, oh, well, you know what, I'm just gonna kill him. Don't do that, that's annoying as hell. I mean, yeah, if it looks like the guy's about to get up, do it, but, you know, if your teammate has downed them and is walking over to finish them off, don't steal that kill, man. It's frustrating as hell to put up with, and it is quite annoying at times. So, yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I hope some of this definitely does help you in Gears of War multiplayer. Just keep in mind that you're not going to be the next pro player for like Envious or something when you start playing this game. This game takes a lot of time to get good at, but when you get good at this game, trust me, it's fun as hell. This is possibly one of the most fun games that I've played when you're good at it. You know, the better you are at the game, the more fun you have on it. And that is definitely true right there. So don't get discouraged when you join the game and you're getting shit on. You know, that's what everybody puts up with at first. Seriously, I started playing Gears of War UE. Well, I started playing Gears of War way back in Gears of War 2. And my first few multiplayer matches online, I sucked at the game. And I was getting my arse handed to me on a plate. And it does discourage you, but just keep at it. And the more better you get, obviously, the more fun you'll have. And it's fun to progress like that in a game like this. You know, when you can feel like you're gradually getting better, it definitely is something that's quite cool within itself. So, yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. It's been a Lone Courier. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you've got any opinions, or if you've got any comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Oh, yeah, you ain't got nothing for the train, baby. Oh, yeah.